Hey there, my friends. What is going on? Vitaly Dubin is here, and in today's episode of Today in Crypto Show, I really want to discuss the price action I'm seeing right now in the charts. I want to see and show you what I'm seeing in the charts that makes me to believe that we have a very imminent, big move coming up, either to the upside or to the downside, but more likely to the upside. I want to discuss that. And I also want to share with you some very interesting phenomenon that is happening right now and what the big firms are saying into the long-term price prediction for Bitcoin. So I want to start by sharing my screen and show you guys this interesting pattern that we are seeing right now on the 1 hour and the 4 hour charts. This is what it's called a falling wedge. Okay, and what we are seeing after this massive move that caused Bitcoin to rise at about 40% or so in 24 hours. This is the third largest spike in the Bitcoin price history in the last 10 years. What we are seeing right now is in the last 23 days or so, a gradual decline into a pattern that is called a falling wedge. Now, this is a bullish pattern, what we are seeing, and we're getting it narrower and narrower here. And then most of the time when this happens, it doesn't go all the way to the point when these lines meet, okay? But it's breaking somewhere here, and this is a bullish pattern. So usually what it does is breaks to the upside somewhere in this area of 9,400, or maybe it will hit this resistance of about $9,000. However, of course, there is a possibility of Bitcoin going down from here if, and it's a big if, we are not going to be able to hold the $8,400 level, which is where we are currently right now. Okay, so if it's not going to hold, if we are going to break through this lower line, then Bitcoin can potentially go back into this area again, the 7,500. But a big move is happening and is going to happen soon. I believe, just based on the history of price action of Bitcoin, just doesn't stay in this way for very long until it breaks up. Okay, so if you zoom out a little bit and you can look at the monthly RSI and where we are standing right now, we are kind of repeating the pattern that we have seen in 2015 that followed a big spike in 2 years, 2016 and 2017. Actually, this is kind of like what Dave the Wave tweeted. The monthly RSI is on track for to break out, to start a bull pattern, because we are very close. If like he's even look at the angles, and he calculated the angles and what we have been seeing in 2015 compared to what we are seeing right now. This is on a monthly level, of course. We reached this point in 2018, December 2018. We reach again this low point on the monthly RSI, just like we had here in January 2015. And then we had a spike, right? And then it followed by a little decline. That's what we are seeing right now here on the RSI. RSI is Relative Strength Index. It measures the speed at which there is a sell pressure or a buy pressure, how much the market overall is being oversold or overbought. And we are seeing something similar happening on a monthly level, where we are with the RSI to the pattern that we saw back in 2015, in 2016. Okay, so if the history is going to repeat itself, which I believe it is, we are just in a little decline over this overall bull market that we started back here in February 2019, right? This year. We had 5 months of rising, then we had 3 months of falling, then 1 month of rise again, and now we have November is a falling month. But you can see that we are doing a little break here and getting ready for the next spike up. And speaking over the longer term patterns, if you take a look at what the big firms are targeting, is 150,000 to $300,000. And when we have people like Tom Lee is from the Fundstrat research firm. What he is saying is that big fund launches can have around $13 billion of first year demand. For Bitcoin to be able to cope with this demand, he suggested it should be priced around $150,000. Okay, so we are, we have a long way to get there from where we are right now, $8,400. But don't forget that at one point we were at $600, $700, $1,000 for Bitcoin, and then we shot within a year by 20 times to $20,000. So it's definitely in the cards for Bitcoin to reach $150,000, and sooner than we think, maybe by the end of 2021. I think that the next 2 years are going to be huge for Bitcoin. The year 2020 is going to be big. The year 2021 is going to be huge for Bitcoin. We have a lot of things happening in the background. We have the Libra with the Facebook next year. That's the target. They should launch it, hopefully, if they're going to be not crushed by the regulations of the other countries, to stifle the growth of Libra. We have also a Bitcoin bull run to start on Thursday after difficulty adjustment. So what they're measuring is actually the correlation historically between the difficulty on how difficult it is to mine, to create a new Bitcoin, and the bull runs. Okay, and after it has increased in difficulty, it is always falling, followed by the Bitcoin bull run, by the Bitcoin bull run increase. So that's exactly what they're expecting, with an expected gain of 4% due on November 21st. This is surely to the harbinger of good things to come. Okay, so that's about that. We are looking at the crypto fear and greed index, where we are right now. We're slightly down right here from the beginning of November, which means that people are more in a fear mode right now. But you can look right there. Okay, there is a line from this point on August to this point, the lowest September 26th to this point October 24th. We have started right here on this crypto fear and greed index, a bullish higher lows trend line. Okay, so essentially what it means right now, if we are more leading into the fear, okay, people are more afraid, it's usually a good time to buy, because people are more fearful. It's good time to buy. If people are more into the greed green zone, then most likely a correction is going to happen. Okay, so that's what we are seeing right now in the charts. There is a lot of new improvements that the Bitcoin developers are testing for the upgrades, for the scaling solution, and now they're taking into a new format when they're going to bring all of these developers together, okay, and essentially discuss what are the improvements we can make for the Bitcoin technology, for the Bitcoin protocols, for everybody to adopt and to use. So they are setting up a weekly Bitcoin review group with all of the best developers. They're going to just brainstorm and see how we can take these ideas, the Bitcoin improvement protocol, the Bitcoin improvement proposals, shortly called BIPs, and what we can do with them to improve the technology of Bitcoin. And again, when a lot of smart, educated engineers, the best in the world, that are working on improving the Bitcoin technology, it is highly likely that that's exactly what's going to happen, and we are going to see Bitcoin performing at much faster and increase the rate of adoption for Bitcoin. Another interesting phenomenon we are seeing with Google. Google is launching its own fully fledged smart checking bank accounts via Google Pay. So they're doing their own thing to expand there and work with the banks. Okay, they're planning to partner deeply with the banks and the financial system, which means that Bitcoin better to step up in a big way, and not allow Google to take take on the payment market, as Google is trying to dominate everything that it does. However, we have big chance of Bitcoin doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, because we have seen a lot of growth happening with Bitcoin. This 10-year, if you take a look at what happened in the last 10 years, right? After 10 years of working well without interruption, right? Everything was in the blockchain, with more than 60 million holders, adding more than 1 million new holders per month, and moving more than $1 billion per day worldwide, has a good chance of succeeding. And the CEO of Bitcoin wallet provider Zappo, Wences is actually predicting $1 million for Bitcoin in the next 7 to 10 years, with a likelihood of chance of succeeding at 50% chance of success of reaching $1 million in 7 to 10 years, and only 20% chance of failure. So, the industry giants are very bullish for the long term of Bitcoin. So you never want to underestimate, what Bitcoin can do over the long term, because if you take a look at this, right, at this chart that we are seeing right here for Bitcoin, you can see the overall pattern. Yes, we have month of red, but overall we have more green than we have red, and we are much higher than we used to be for Bitcoin. And this is the overall pattern. People are excited about this technology. So do not see, look at the trees and don't see the forest, so to speak. Look at a bigger picture for Bitcoin in 2020, somewhere here in May 2020, where I'm pointing right now. There's going to be Bitcoin halving. The reward is going to be twice as less for the same amount of effort to support the Bitcoin network, which will put a heavy pressure to increase the price of Bitcoin simply by supply and demand. That's how economic works. It's very simple, guys. Simple math. Okay, Bitcoin is based a lot on math. And it is inevitable that it is going to happen 6 months from now. So, it's going to have a big effect on the market. So keep that in mind, the overall long-term perspective for Bitcoin. And let's get as many Bitcoin as possible and prepare for the next bull run, which I believe is going to surprise everybody here with where Bitcoin is going to be headed in the years ahead. Okay, so I'm looking forward to that, and let's have a fantastic week, and I'll keep you updated with everything important that is going on in the markets.